Yo, what's up, guys? How are you doing today? Man, I'll be talking about the Utah Jazz and how they're one of the most underrated and really bright futures in the NBA as well. The Utah Jazz are obviously recent years. They traded away Donovan Mitchell. They traded away Rudy Gobert. But I'm here to say that Jazz fans, you guys are definitely underappreciated because what you guys have not only right now currently, but for the future as well in terms of like picks, things like that as well. And we're looking at cash space as well. The Jazz pick. So I'm recording this video on Sunday night after watching the Jazz versus Spurs game after a 128-109 win by the Jazz over the Spurs. This is a game that I thoroughly watched. The Utah Jazz, I came away from this, the Utah Jazz this season, they're not expected to be a play-in team. Like I said, in recent years, they traded away Donovan Mitchell, they traded Rudy Gobert, their two best players. We're like, this rebuild for the Jazz might take forever. We're looking at it right now. The Utah Jazz right now are the 11th seed. They're only 3 games behind the red hot Golden State Warriors and the Lakers, who lost as I'm recording this on Sunday night. But they were red hot prior to this. That makes any sense, which it obviously should. It's obviously headlined by this not superstar, their star player Lauri Markkanen, and there's a lot to like with this Utah Jazz team. With the trades of Simone Fontecchio, who I liked, I didn't like them trading him away, obviously, to the Pistons, but they ended up getting a high second round pick back, which I guess it's solid. It's actually pretty good, actually, even though Simone's been really good for the Pistons. And you obviously went ahead and acquired a first round pick for Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji, who really wasn't in the rotation when he was playing. He definitely wasn't playing to that first round pick caliber, which Raptors fans and Raptors personnel and front office is hoping that he can do that with the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, he was a standout at Kansas. Hopefully, I can translate to him at the NBA level, especially in that 3-and-D role, which he had a decent role in his first year, his rookie season with the Utah Jazz. And then to come into this season, not so much, but went in and shipped him off. So he currently right now the 11th seed in the West, a pretty damn good West, where the 9-10 is the Warriors, 9-10 is the Warriors and the Lakers, and they've been in close games as well with teams like, I was watching them against the Warriors. Keontae George balled out, Colin Sexton balled out, Lauri Markkanen could not buy a bucket until like the second half of the game, if then. They were still in that game. They played against my Miami Heat. I was like, yo, hold on, they might have cooked. Then they had a little loser streak, and then they won today against the Spurs, but things get scary in Utah, man. They're not supposed to be an 11th seed right now. That's all I'm gonna say. But last year as well, y'all remember that as well. They started off red hot, and then second half of the season they were out of the play-in. But hey, they definitely are in games. Like the Jazz are one of the best like mid teams in the NBA. They're not terrible. They're not per se good, but they're not per se also bad. So they're kind of like mid. Them and the Bulls, they're like some of the best mid teams in the NBA. They're always be in a close game. They can be the best team in the league, but they can also go ahead and just be in a dogfight with like the Pistons. We're like, what the fuck are we doing, bro? The Pistons and the Wizards, my bad. Or the Spurs as well, just lost to the Jazz, but that kind of contradicts my point. But hey, can Taylor Hendricks become that starting small forward for the Utah Jazz? Because in my opinion, they're starting 5. I mean, you're still trying to develop Keontae George, but I feel like he is the point guard of the future for the Utah Jazz. Colin Sexton, in my opinion, is the shooting guard of the future for the Utah Jazz. Lauri Markkanen, in my opinion, as well, is also the starting power forward of their franchise. He's their star guy. He's their franchise player of the future of their starting power forward position. They also have Walker Kessler, in my opinion, one of the most underrated bigs. He's been trying to develop a mid-range jump shot, maybe even a 3-point shot as well, which can definitely elevate his game, especially nowadays. You need at least a mid-range jump shot that teams can go ahead and not sag off, because they know you're so elite at getting to the rim. Develop that mid-range jump shot so they can go ahead and not sag off, and maybe you can get more looks to attacking the rim, because people are like, oh shit, look, he got a jumper. I might not have to go ahead and just back up on them, do like these. I might need to go ahead and just, you know, he's a lob threat. He can attack the rim, being a shot block like some of the best in the NBA. Maybe add a mid-range jump shot. The spacing also wouldn't be bad because Keontae can shoot, so can Sexton. Can Taylor Hendricks develop into their starting small forward? If not, cool. If so, even better. But they have a lot of first round picks to go. Danny Ainge at helm, Mo Hardy, one of the most underrated coaches in the NBA. The Utah Jazz's future is extremely bright. I don't think enough people are talking about it, man. This team is not supposed to be the 11th seed. They've shown flashes already this season. They've beaten some really good teams. They had a phenomenal win against the Bucks with a phenomenal fourth quarter by their bench. But they literally didn't play the starter outside of Larry Markin in that game in that fourth quarter. Doc Rivers and the Bucks got fucking baked. They got fried. They got cooked in that fourth quarter by the Utah Jazz's bench, excluding Larry Markin. Beat the Thunder this season as well. Those are some really good wins against two of the best teams in the NBA. Yes, the Bucks had their struggles defensively. They had a phenomenal win. As I'm recording this on Friday, I'm recording this on Sunday, but I'm talking about the game on Friday. They had a phenomenal win against the Minnesota Timberwolves, one of the best defenses in the NBA. They did everything against them, man. The Timberwolves had 13 points in that third quarter. Cat hit a couple threes in that fourth, try to bring them back. Dame hit a tough three. Woo. Tough. Look at me, Heath, man, giving the Bucks credit, man. What happened to the game I love, man? But shout out to the Jazz. They've been very underrated, one of the most underrated teams in the NBA so far this season. And what's really good about them, man, is that future, man. In my opinion, they already have foundational pieces, but they definitely should have a lot of cap space to go. I mean, right here it says they have $5 billion in cap space, but it just doesn't make any sense at all. All right, so I'm currently ending this video, and I just found out that the Jazz have upwards of $27.6 million in cap space with a couple of guys on expiring contracts. Jordan Clarkson is not a free agent. He actually will be locked into a new 2-year deal, which is paying him an average annual value of $14 million. Which is definitely a lot better, but he still can be a trade candidate in my opinion. And the money coming off the books is really guys that really aren't in the rotation. THT, guys like Lucas Samanic, guys like Kira Lewis Jr., guys like Otto Porter Jr. Now, there is guys that do get minutes like Chris Dunn. I do expect the Jazz to re-sign Chris Dunn, especially since he's shooting really well from three, and his defense is locked down. But outside of that, there's a lot of guys on this Jazz team that will not be on this team next year, freeing up cap space to go out and make potentially a big-time move. Because Larry Markkinen isn't on a big deal. Jordan Clarkson, $23.4 million is a lot for a six-man. John Collins, by the way, the Utah, not the Jazz. The Hawks gave this man $25.3 million in the year 2024. That's how the Jazz got him for Tube Socks. Rudy Gay, who's now retired, I believe. No, he signed with the Warriors, and now he's just chilling, I guess. I don't know. And a couple of second-round picks. Larry Markin is on a steal right now, making $17.2 million. Look at a guy like a THT making $11 million a year. Who gave THT $11 million, bro? Was that the Jazz this offseason? That man is not even in the rotation, bro. Yikes. Young guys like Bryce Sensabaugh coming off that bench. They still have Johnny Juzang. Shout out to the UCLA guy. I guess he's just not overseas. I guess he's just in the G League, just not really getting any clock at the NBA level. But like when you look at the roster right now, they have a plethora of guards. Like their guard rotation right now is at least like 4-man deep. You have Colin Sexton at the 2, Keontae George at the 1. Off the bench, they're not even playing THT, aka Taylor Horton Tucker. I'm not saying THT's like a good NBA player, but he's all right. He's not the worst player of all time. He's right now out of the rotation. That's how many guards they have in their team. They also have RI legend. Shout out to Providence. The first ever paper I wrote, or first ever assignment I wrote in high school as an RI kid was about Chris Dunn and the Providence Friars. Shout out to Chris Dunn. Absolute RI legend. So they have Chris Dunn, and they also have Jordan Clarkson as well in that point guard, shooting guard role off the best little combo guard. JC is a guy that this Jazz team needs veterans. Don't get it twisted, but I would not be surprised this offseason. I don't know when JC's raging. He's making $23.4 million this season to be a six-man, even though he was starting early on this season, and now he's coming off the bench now. He's been very, very, very inconsistent this season. I'm recording this video. He had a phenomenal game today in a dub against the Spurs, but JC has been very inconsistent this season with his shooting, but he's been pretty good this season in terms of his playmaking, so I'll give him that. But that's not, wouldn't be really surprised if he's a guy that ends up being not a cap casualty, but somebody that just gets traded. I don't know what his value lies like. I mean, this is definitely one of his inefficient seasons in recent memory, so maybe he doesn't get too much, but you want obviously 3 minutes for Colin Sexton, who I like. Keontae George, who I like. He's been inefficient earlier on in the season. He's getting that fifty. He had a phenomenal game against Golden State Warriors the day before the All-Star break on Thursday night, heading into Friday. Then we got to see Keontae in the Rising Stars game. Shout out to him. First round pick out of Baylor. Taylor Hendricks now getting real minutes on that right now. Shout out to him. Every time I watch the Jazz, I'm just seeing Taylor Hendricks literally just go ahead and just spot up from three. I'm not sure if at UCF if he was a big like spot up guy, but I feel like he's athletic enough to not just be solely a spot up guy. I know he gets up for dunks, stuff like that as well. But on offense, when I'm looking at him, just a lot of spotting up. Like he's not like cutting too often. I'm looking at him. Mind you, I'm not watching full Jazz game, but I am watching bits and pieces of the Utah Jazz right now on my monitor. Like listen right here, and out of his spot up. So I definitely want to see him not just be a spot up, because I think he's good enough to being more, especially him being so young, so athletic, and being 6'9", 215 was he's listed at. So hopefully I can see some progression on him, especially in the second half of the season, right after the All-Star break. You obviously have a good foundational piece in Lauri Markkanen. I really like Colin Sexton. I really like Keontae George. I love Walker Kessler. Mind you, please start Walker Kessler. Look at the stats today. He was like third or fourth in the league in blocks, averaging like 2.5 blocks a game. And he really doesn't even get like starter minutes. Like start him. My ideal Jazz starting five, in my humble opinion, would be Keontae George at the 1, Colin Sexton at the 2, Lauri Markkanen at the 3, John Collins at the 4, and Walker Kessler at the 5. If I missed anybody, my bad, but that's just in my humble opinion. Off the bench, you have the defensive stud, and this season a 3-and-D guy in RI legend, Providence legend, but all around RI legend, Chris Dunn. Worked his way back in the G League with the Wizards. Got a contract last season, re-signed maybe on a multi-year deal, and he's an impending free agent. He's shooting over 40% from 3 with lockdown defense. I know a couple weeks ago we saw SGA bake him and cross him, but he missed. And then you gotta stop on him. So Chris Dunn, phenomenal defender. Good 3-point shooter this season as well. And then you also have guys as well, the younger guys like Taylor Hendricks off the bench. You have guys like they're not really playing. Otto Porter Jr. Maybe he just gets bought out. Bryce Sensabaugh getting minutes as a reason. Shout out to Bryce Sensabaugh. Shout out to Ohio State. They had an insane game winner today against Michigan State. I'm not a big college basketball guy, but I saw that on Twitter. So shout out to Ohio State. And Quiet Carol Lewis as well in that 3-team deal. He's not really getting minutes at all. But when you talk about the Jazz, you really want to talk about what they have in terms of first round picks. Don't forget they traded Donovan Mitchell and also Rudy Gobert. They ended up getting Walker Kessler back in a deal, I believe, for Rudy Gobert because he was the first round pick, and they ended up selecting him with that pick. And they also ended up getting Lauri Markkanen, obviously their foundational piece. I don't think he made all the NBA third team last year, but he did start in the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken. He did definitely start in the All-Star game. That's not, I guess, and that's a proven fact that I actually vividly remember. Utah Jazz, just in 2024 and 2025, they have a first round pick this season via OKC, Houston, or LA. I believe that is there's a lot to look at, but one of those 3 first round picks are going to the Jazz. If I were to guess, it would be the Clippers because they have the best record. Either them or the OKC Thunder. They end up getting the less favorable, I would say, but yeah, they're going to get either a late first round pick or a late first round pick. They also have their first round pick this season in 2025, which potentially could be a lottery pick depending on how the playing goes. In my humble opinion, I think that the Lakers and the Warriors get the last 2 playing spots. If not, they jump another team as well. I don't know who that team is in the actual 1 through 6, if not the playing spots. Maybe actually, you know what? They still gotta get people in the 8, 9 before we talk about 7 and 6, but that's beside the point. So they have a late first round pick, I think, from either one of those teams, OKC, Houston, and LA. And they also have a first round pick via the Cavs. Obviously, the Cavs were one of the best teams in the league, one of the hottest teams in the league. And probably another late first round pick. But hey, maybe they can cook with the late first round picks. Shout out to Danny Ainge. Maybe they can go ahead and combine one of those to get a higher pick. I don't know. Maybe they can trade those first round picks to get some actual maybe get another star player alongside Lauri Markkanen while you see Colin Sexton and also Keontae George go ahead and develop. You obviously do have the contract of John Collins, which is very interesting, but he's been pretty good this season. I'll give him his credit. He hasn't been terrible. He's been pretty solid this season. He had a good game today as I'm recording this video. Shout out to John Collins. He was hitting some threes, rebounding the basket, always been pretty good at. And he's freaky, he's athletic, can get to the rim pretty easily, to be quite honest. And they also have the 2025 first round pick via the Timberwolves as well, which is pretty good. I just looked, actually, they don't have, that's the only first round pick that they do have this season. I forgot they traded their first round pick to. Don't tell me they traded the first round pick to the Raptors, or no, I believe that 2024, one of those three that came from the Raptors. I forgot who the Jazz traded a first round pick to. Let me go ahead and look that up before I go ahead and end this video. Okay, so the OKC Thunder are possessing of the Utah Jazz's first round pick. And I guess it's protected if I'm not mistaken. Let me go ahead and look this up actually. So the OKC Thunder, I forgot what trade they made where the Thunder now have the Jazz pick, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So it is 1 to 10 protected. So if it's a top 10 pick, then it goes to Utah. If it's not a top 10 pick, then it goes to OKC. So they could potentially have 2 first round picks this season if they're a top 10 team. They're not a bottom 10 team in my opinion, because the East at the bottom gets really, really bad. Look at the teams like the Pistons and Wizards and things like that. I don't know. They might, I don't know, to be honest. And just looking at these last couple years up until 2030, they also have the 2026 from their own first round pick. They have a 2026 pick via Minnesota or Cleveland. Utah received the most favorable in 2026, and then so on and so forth. And they also have Minnesota's 2027 first round pick. They also have the Cavs 2027 first round pick. They have their own 2027 first round pick. They have the 1 through 4 particular be the Lakers first round pick. That probably wasn't a trade for Pat Bev and THT. So if it's a top 4 pick, it goes to the Lakers. If not, then it goes to the Utah Jazz, so they can struck gold on that 2027 first round pick, if I'm reading that correctly. They also have the Cavs 2028 first round pick. They also have their own first round pick in 2028, and they also have 2029 their own first round pick. In 2029, they have Cleveland's first round pick with no protections. Minnesota's first round pick in 2029, protected 1 through 5. It's the top 5, then it's Minnesota. If not, then it's the Utah Jazz's. They also have their 2030 first round pick as well. So we're looking at confirmed first round picks. We're looking at in the next 6 seasons, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 first round picks that are not gonna all be needed in the next 5 or 6 seasons. So we're looking at Utah Jazz potentially going out and getting a star alongside Lauri Markkanen. 19 picks, including all those second round picks as well. In the next 6 seasons, man, the Utah Jazz have one of the most underrated futures in the NBA. It's extremely bright. Like I said, man, Lauri Markkanen at the helm, Keyonte George, Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, potentially Taylor Hendricks as well, potentially Bryce Sensabaugh as well. You traded Kelly Olynyk, you're one of the most underrated coaches in the NBA, in Will Hardy, Colin Sexton, Keyonte George. John Collins also is pretty solid. I love Walker Kessler. I love, obviously, Chris Dunn, RI legend. Hey, man, shout out to the Jazz. They're one of the most underrated futures in the NBA. And I don't feel like enough people are talking about it, man. The Jazz have one of the most underrated futures in the NBA, and I really don't feel like enough people are talking about it, which is why I wanted to go ahead, shed some light on the Utah Jazz, and give Jazz fans and give the Jazz front office, Danny Ainge, Will Hardy, I wanted to give them all their flowers. Heat legend Dwayne Wade, minority owner, shout out to him, shout out to Flash, shout out to 305. You know, he really should be the owner, or at least minority owner of the Miami Heat, but we can't have what we always want. Is that not facts? Is that not facts, chat? Is that not facts? But yeah, other than that, yo, that is the video. Make sure to go down below, drop a like, comment down below, sub up. Make sure to follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. It's your boy John. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm out, man. Peace.